So we're now moving into the season of Bealtaine. We've had this wet, long winter, I think. I think spring. I know I haven't been able to get out as much as I would like in the to see the blossoming and the emergence of spring, and it's time really to embrace the energy of Beltane now. And I'm really glad to see that the sun has begun to emerge a little, so that we can start to embrace this shift from the gamos, the dark half of the feminine year, the dark half of the year in the feminine energy, into the samos, the light half of the year, as the sun god begins to lead in service to the feminine, and the energy starts to shift and change. And so now the feminine energy yields to the masculine. In earth energy, the energy lines are burgeoning, they're getting more powerful, they're getting more volume, they're getting more width. And it's been an odd time, I feel. There have been big shifts in the energy lines, energy grid system this year. What we would call emperor dragons have massively expanded. And there just has been this general shift in earth energy that I think we're seeing that play out on an individual level. It's affecting our sort of sense of ourselves and our security and our identity and many things. But also I think we're seeing these big shifts play out on the world stage. We feel as if we're in upside down times, or the end of times at the moment, where things that we sort of hold dear, everything seems to be changing. And we don't know quite yet what wants to emerge, what's coming into being, but we feel that things are ending and closing, and something new is going to emerge. And these are challenging times, and that I think that's playing out on the political arena, it's playing out in the economic arena, it's playing out in so many of the energy ecologies in which we live. And how do we deal with this? How do we deal with these challenges that we're facing at the moment, where life feels very uneven, and we don't feel like we've got back to some, if we ever had normal, but we feel, after COVID and economic problems and war and unrest and turbulent political times in many countries, how can we sort of find some kind of stability, and how can we navigate these changes? And I think ultimately it comes back to finding our sovereign centre. Because no matter what's going on in the world, when we find our own sovereign centre, we know that we can act in the right intentional way. So as we're moving into the solar energy, the light half of the year, the samos half of the year now, ideally we want to be leading with the masculine, the light energy, and we lead in service to the feminine. And this is how, so we want to look at what's emerging in our life, what's blossoming, what is calling our attention, what do we need to tend to, what do we need to go out there and do things about, from the dream time that we had in the dark feminine in the winter, when we sat there, when it was cold and raining outside, and thought to ourselves, this year I'm going to do X or Y. Then now is your time really to take those actions and set those intentions that you are actually going to do X and Y, and you're not going to let another year slip away. And bringing our attention round to the turning of the wheel as we move into the bright half of the year, when this action-taking masculine energy, if you like, comes much more to the fore. That is our call to do something. That is our call to say, this is what is calling my soul. And it is about listening to those voices of the soul, not the sort of quick fixes. It's what do you really want to achieve in your life? Because it's up to us now to focus on what is really calling us. What are we bringing in that's emerged in the world, and what do we want to see flourish? Who do we want to become? And we, as I say, we achieve that by stepping into our sovereign centre. So the sacred wheel of the year has 8 kinds of energy in it because of the 8 Sabbaths, and we're going now into the time of Beltane. But at times we were in dream time of midwinter. We're now coming into the blossoming stage of Beltane, We could also we have harvest energy and conscious endings later in the year. And it's not necessarily that we're in one place on that wheel. Physically, out there in the world, we're in spring. But we can be in different places on that wheel in different aspects of our life. So you might be in the harvest phase of something that you're doing in your career. You've worked hard all your life, you've just been promoted, you've got a good salary rise, or you've started your business and now you've got clients coming in. Now you're in harvest phase. You might have started a very new relationship and been in the early tentative stages of inbook where there's just something new starting to emerge. You might still have some unmet personal goals that you don't know quite how you're going to do them. So in those, you're still in dream time. So understanding where we are for the different aspects of life on this wheel means we know what energy to be in as we deal with that problem. If you're in a point of the energy that's in the dark half of the feminine, a dark half of the year rather, you're leading with feminine energy. If you're in a point of the Celtic wheel where we're in the light half of the year, then you're leading with more masculine energy. But that doesn't mean you're not paying attention to the other. You're in a sacred marriage. So what we need to look at is we come into our sacred centre and then we get to choose what energy we want to be in. We can see where we are on the wheel. We can see what this thing is that is coming into being or blossoming or flowering or harvesting or ending in our life. We can see that. And then that then says, well, I need to just sit and think about that because that's the point of the wheel. New emergence will come. Or, yes, this relationship is actually at an end and I need to consciously end it. And I need to sit with that ending in the feminine energy. And then if you've got a new job, you're just blossoming, you're getting your name about there, then you want to go out and be more proactive in the job, do more networking, get out there, meet more people, make your presence felt at work by your actions. Then you're in that's the action taking masculine energy, where we know where we are on this wheel. We can see where we are. We know what's coming next. So therefore we can align our actions with the next phase of that energy and we can make sure we're in our sovereign centre. And to be in our sovereign centre, it's really important to understand our own values. Understanding your own soul values means you will concentrate on the things that are important to you, not the things that you think you ought to do or should do or other people deem important. Understanding your soul values is key to your soul sovereignty. And from there, as I say, we can look more, I won't say dispassionately, but with a top-down view of this is where I am in these 8 phases of energy in this thing in my life. So physically now, obviously, we're on the earth, we're moving around the year, we are actually in physical spring. So we want to embrace the Beltane season. We want to embrace this, what is blossoming in my life. What is potentially going to give me harvest later on? What has gone through the resistance of early stages of growth, that has met those challenges, that has persevered? Because if we look at nature now, she is risking everything for what's to come later. Every baby bird, every pair of birds risks bringing young to life because they could be predated. Every flower risks having insects or something eat it by opening its petals. But for nature, the risk of staying in the bud, the risk of opening out, the risk of going out there and risking everything for new growth and new life outweighs staying in the bud or not laying the eggs or not doing the things that we want to do. So it's a time of challenge. It's a time of stepping in to those things that may make us feel uncomfortable, because growth is challenging and growth is uncomfortable. But we have this prevailing energy going with us. So if this energy is encouraging, risk-taking, go out there, try it. Not every seed that begins to grow in the spring reaches flowering, reaches harvest. But nature still does it anyway, because the risk of not doing it is greater than the risk of doing it. So this is what this energy is all about. So when we're in our sovereign center and we understand what's important to us, it makes it easier to do these things that is important to you. And I think this is also how we're going to navigate these bigger changes that are going on in the world, in our political systems, our economic systems, education systems, in the ideology of many things that are changing in our world right now, where our world feels a little bit unstable. We come back to our values and we understand that not taking action is riskier than taking action, because we just stay stuck. So I'll leave that with you. That's just really, the Beltane energy to think about. You can, it's Beltane, the 1st of May, the fixed day tomorrow. In traditional Irish, where I was a child, we used to gather flowers and put them outside the door. It used to be to ward off, to protect the house. But I actually think it's more about sort of an energy alchemy of about bringing things in and honouring the spring growth. But think about what is blossoming. Think about what is emerging in your life, that if you hold back, if you don't allow it to blossom, if you don't allow it to shine its light, you risk staying stuck where you are. And really that's the message of Beltane. And right now, with a new world, with the world shifting and changing, that newness is going to emerge from us. It's not going to emerge from the top down. It's not going to emerge by somebody deciding what we need to do. Otherwise we lose our autonomy. It's us deciding, these are the gifts I want to bring to this new world. This is the impact I want to have. This is the legacy I want to leave. And even if I'm the only flower that flowers in the wilderness, if I'm the only flower that flowers in this desert, I will flower. And I think that's the message of Beltane at the moment, is for all of us to bring our gifts to the world. Because right now, I think the world really needs us. So I hope you enjoy Beltane. Go out, enjoy the sun, enjoy the weather, enjoy the gorgeous spring bird song. Look at the emerging spring flowers. See all the bounty that is out there. The world is full of bounty. That harvest is coming if we allow ourselves to blossom and bloom and set seed. The fruit of everything we're trying to come will come. But if we don't blossom, we won't set seed. We won't get the harvest later on. So risk it all. Go out there and shine your light to the world. Do the things that you want to do and embrace the emerging bountiful life as we go into the Beltane season.